Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. In this video, I'm going to talk about four almost magical numbers that were instrumental for us to be able to retire early. Honestly, if it wasn't these four numbers, we wouldn't even have achieved financial independence, let alone having the dream to retire early. Unfortunately, we learned about these numbers just organically stumbling and learning during our journey over the last 2 decades. But I wish that these numbers were taught in the schools and colleges rather than so many theoretical concepts or Pythagoras theorems, etc., that we, at least I, never really used during our professional life or even till today. That is our purpose through this channel, to raise that personal finance awareness and create, based on our experience, the knowledge for folks, because it's a sad state that this personal finance is not taught in the schools or colleges. So my request to all of you watching would be that please do subscribe if you've not already done so, and do share the channel with the folks who you believe can benefit from elevating their personal finance acumen. And not just about fire as such, but just these concepts that can be handy, and the concepts that at least we've learned based on our experiences. Anyways, back to the topic. So the first magical number is 72. Now, this is the number for compounding. I think it was Albert Einstein who once said that compounding is the eighth wonder of the world. So the folks who know about it benefit from it, and the folks who don't know about it lose a lot of money. And I think this power of 72, or this number 72, is a very good barometer to see how you can accelerate that or how you can even not benefit from that. And we stumbled and learned about these formula or the rule of 72 over the years, and we definitely benefited from that. Now, what is this rule of 72? The rule of 72 is that you take the number 72 and you divide by the interest that you're getting on your money, or the returns that you're getting on your money, and that will give you that how many years it takes for your money to double. So for example, if you're getting the returns of 10% on your investment, 72, and then you're getting 10%, so divide that 72 by 10%, 10, and that will give you 7.2. So it takes 7.2 years for your money to double if you're getting 10% returns or consistent returns on your investments. Now, how did we use it to our advantage? We used it to our advantage in two ways. First, we decided that, okay, if we have so much gap from our target corpus that we have versus what we have today, then how long will it we need to double, quadruple our money that we have? And then based on that, we decided what should be our target returns on the portfolio that we desire. So that also helped us to initially, during our initial part of our career, take a lot more risks. And later, when our money had already doubled or quadrupled over decades, then we could take a lower risk of having lower returns. So that helped us from having that target and calculating what returns do we need. Similarly, for certain investments, when we knew the returns, for example, fixed deposits or bonds, we knew that this is the returns that we are getting, then we also could calculate that, okay, these investments will double in such a long time. So this is how this number can be of a huge benefit. So what you can do, like us, is define your target returns on your portfolio, and then see that, okay, if this is the target returns on your portfolio, then how many years will it take? Or the other way around, that you can define that what is your target timeline that you want your money to double, and then you define your target returns on your portfolio based on your timelines. And this number, by the way, is not only helpful for calculating how the compounding works on your money, and how can you double or quadruple it over years and decades, but it also helps you to define your impact of inflation, because the logic is the same, because inflation is also cumulative. So for example, if again you have 10% inflation. I really sincerely hope it never happens, but just for simplicity's sake as calculation, that 10%, so 72 divided by 10 means that in 7.2 years, the money that you have today will have half its value of in those 7.2 years. So you know that how that inflation will hit your purchasing power in how many years. So again, if the inflation is 5%, then you know that it'll take 14.4 years for your money to have half the value, so that you can also start predicting the impact of inflation on your money and how it erodes. And it can also be helpful to calculate how your debt, and I sincerely hope that you don't have debt where you are just getting a cumulative impact on debt, that how that money, what you owe to the credit card company or any other loan shark that you may have borrowed that money from, that how will it double that you have to pay. So the same equation, if it's that you've taken that debt at 10%, that means that 72 divided by 10 means in 7.2 years, you owe double the money to the company that you took that money from. And that can also help you to also play with both the levers of debt as well as your returns. So for example, if it happens so that you're getting debt at a very low interest rate, because it did happen for us in, for example, when we had moved to Europe, at that time the interest rates on housing was very low, so it was almost 1 to 2%. So it made sense for us to take our mortgage on or a house on interest, and the money that we were saving to put it in investments that were returning almost 10%. So that 10% within 7.2 years, we were able to double that money, while that 1% to 2% had very little marginal impact on our overall debt for that matter. So that's how you can use this number in a very interesting, magical way towards your advantage. The second number is 30. Now this 30 was also very critical for us, and that is 30% of saving your net household income. And when I say net, means that post-tax. So for us, for Seema and I, this was a target from day one, that our ambition was that we will always save 30% of our overall net income post-taxes. Now, there were many years when our expenses went up. It could be because we had to fund some education, we had to buy a car or something. Whatever happened, even though our expenses went up or our earnings dipped because of whatever reason, that we were changing locations, etc., we made sure that that 30% remains as a constant. The big benefit it did is because with the same power of 72 is that 30% we were putting in investments. And every year you're putting fuel into that investment. So what happens is that that 30% starts making money for you. And there is a point at which you start automatically saving more because your money is making money for you. And the day your money is making enough money for your expenses is the day you become financially independent. That means that theoretically or conceptually, you do not need to even use your income for any of the expenses, because conceptually you can take all the passive income or returns that you're getting in an investment to take care of all your expenses. So you're saving 100%. So that 30% starts, and it is tough, honestly, in the first few years to continue consistently doing that 30%. But believe me that that 30% keeps moving up automatically to 35, 40, 45, 50. And by the time we took this bold step of retiring early, accepting that there were 2 years of what I keep mentioning in our videos, of one more year that we continued doing working because we were enjoying. But we were 100% saving our salary because our investments were doing the talking. And on this one, I'm reminded by the quote by Charlie Munger, where he said that the first 100,000 is hard, the first million is easy, because that's what happens, that the first 100,000 or that 30% takes effort, but after that it becomes easier as a ride. The third number is 30 divided by 10. It's 3. So for us, the number 3 holds in advantages in two ways. One is 3%. So I made these videos in about 4% rule, and I'm sure you're already by now aware what that 4% rule is, that you withdraw 4% of your overall corpus every year and you will never run out of money. The standard FIRE principle. And as we've spoken in many of our videos, personally, we think that 4% is not being tested for Indian markets. It's not. It's typically tested for 30 years, and so on and so forth. So we personally have always believed 3% and below. And if you do the maths and if you calculate, you will realize that that 3% or below gives you a long-term advantage, that you could even retire for 50 years without running out of money. It could even give you an advantage of leaving money behind for children or a legacy behind. So anything 3% and below. And that's what we've always targeted. When we were planning our financial independence, we said that, look, our target is 3% and below, to make sure that our portfolio is not just conservative, but it is resilient to any future market upswings or downswings or anything that happens. When you will do the maths, you will realize that anything below 3%, be it 2.5%, 2.75%, that is almost like perpetual money, unless you're really stashing all the cash under the blanket or under the mattress and you're not investing. But as long as you're investing, 3% and below will always keep it resilient, or at least it has always, for the last few years, kept it resilient for us. The second part of 3%, or the number 3, sorry, not 3%, is the 3-bucket strategy. So that 3-bucket strategy has helped us to ride out the storms in the market so far. So we've had this bucket 1, and where I've talked about a dedicated video, which is about short-term investments, bucket 2, mid-term investments, and bucket 3, the long-term investments. Those are the growth stocks and cryptos, real estate, etc. And that has helped us to avoid what is called the sequence of return risk. To understand sequence of return risk, there is also another video that I've made. Hopefully that will help you understand that topic well. But this combination of 3% rule for us and the 3-bucket strategy has been very beneficial, at least so far. Again, as they say in the financial world, that past performance is not a guarantee for future success, but so far so good. Now for the fourth number, which is 24, but if I put it in some kind of a car analogy, the first number 72 is like an accelerator, that is like your engine that can accelerate your growth, while the second number 30% is the fuel, because you're putting that fuel of savings every year into that car, and that fuel is what, the more fuel you put, the longer you can drive on, go on. And this 3-bucket strategy and the 3%, I see it like a gear or the lever that helps you navigate to slow down, etc., during your journey and manage your portfolio accordingly. And this number 24, which is the fourth number, is like those airbags in the car in case of emergency, because that's what it is, the emergency fund. And this is again a topic that I've spoken about in the previous videos, but we've always kept an emergency fund of 24 months. Personally, I think doesn't matter that if you're starting your career or you're in mid of your career, you should have an emergency fund as a minimum target for a 6 months emergency fund. I even put a formula to that your emergency fund is 24 minus the years to retirement that are left for you, or your years to your target retirement. But personally, we always wanted to be a little bit more safe or more cautious, so we always had this 24 months of emergency fund. This has helped us in any family emergency situations. It helped us in during those market downturns that happened without us being panicky or trying to liquidate some investment. Typically, we keep these emergency fund in 12-month fixed deposits, so that we are still countering inflation even in this emergency fund. And if push comes to shove, we are able to liquidate those fixed deposits. And we don't keep the entire emergency fund in just one fixed deposit. We keep in multiple 12-month fixed deposits, so that we don't need to liquidate the entire emergency fund when it is needed. We can liquidate parts of it, so that also staggers the risks. So this number 72, which is the rule of 72, which will help you calculate compounding, which will help you calculate your impact of inflation, which will help you calculate the impact of debt. The number 30, which will help you target the 30% savings every year and more to go on to this journey to financial independence. The number three, where 3%, that's at least our journey and our belief that we want to keep it more resilient and not just conservative. And this three bucket strategy to ride out the sequence of return risk. And the fourth one being this number 24, our bags in this journey to financial independence, where if there is any emergency, we are cushioned by this 24-month emergency fund. So I hope that these four numbers help you with your own journey to financial independence. Would love to hear from you. If you think that there is a fifth or a sixth number that you would like to add, please do comment. Would like to engage, and probably it will also help the others who are reading the comments. So I hope you found this video useful. Till the next video, till the next topic, and till the next location, goodbye from me. Bye-bye.